because he had taken so much of my life. The way he treated me, there was nothing left. I was numb.
Met when I was 19 years old, and I was a part of the Miss Canada Globe pageant. There was one time where I had a little speaking engagement at the end of the fashion show. He winked at me, I thought that was amazing, and we went on a couple dates and we kind of hit it off and we started dating. Right at the beginning of meeting him, he was fun, he was outgoing, he was charming and handsome, and everything a girl is kind of looking for in a relationship. But I didn't know what I was looking for in a relationship because he primarily was my first real boyfriend. Going back about 3 months into the relationship, there was a time where I was staying over at his place and he was moving, so I was helping him move. I don't know, he was just behaving silly. And all of a sudden I got a slap on the face. And I knew then that, wait a minute, what did you just do? This wasn't good. I knew that. I remember my tears and my eyes were starting to swell up. And all of a sudden he was joking around and he gave me a hug and he's like, oh, I'm so sorry, I just got overwhelmed. I didn't mean to do that, I would never hurt you. And he kind of like tickled me and kind of laughed it off. And so at that point I thought, well, that was kind of weird. And looking back, I would have definitely run. But at that point I loved him, and I didn't think that there was anything wrong if he truly loved me and said, look, I'm so sorry, I was just being silly. But again, he was someone who showed his love and appreciation in little ways for me to continue thinking, you know what, it's okay, this is just another thing. We all go through situations in relationships and we just have to work on them. And it's just a matter of learning how to communicate better. So for me, again, what would have been a red flag for other people, for me, I looked at it in a positive light saying, well, how can I be better? We met up at the police station there, and they started asking me questions, and I just decided I wasn't going to answer anything. I just said, look, this is what we were doing, this is the story, I was wanting to see my boyfriend, and that was it. And then they started asking me about, well, has he ever slapped you before? Has he ever hit you with a hair blow dryer? And now I'm thinking, how did they figure this out? Like, how did they know about this? And so I just said, no, he's never done that to me. I don't know where you're getting your information from. And then the police officer said, well, your sister has told us these things. And so for me, I thought, no, that's not happening. I don't know what she's talking about. Inside, I thought, like, how can she betray me? I told her in confidence. When I did get home, I went into my room and I packed everything that I could. And I thought, I'm not gonna let this relationship go down the drain just for this. That's my family's fault. So I ended up telling my mom, I mean, if you wanna have a daughter again, I need to make this right. So you need to drive me and you need to drop me off at his house. And my dad's like, no, I'm not doing this. I'm not being a part of this. Your mother's not doing this. And I'm like, Mom, if you want to have any kind of conversation with me or keep me in your life at all, you would do it. But for her, I knew that if I dropped you off, I knew where you'd be. So I ended up getting dropped off. All my stuff was in the front of his house, and he had said, look, if you really do want to be with me, there are sacrifices that need to be made. He said, well, know what? We're going to just cut ties with your family. If you really want to be with me, you'll do it. So I did. I changed my phone number. We deleted all my Facebook and social media accounts. We deleted all numbers in my phone, so I had no contact with anyone. And then I decided I was just going to live my life with him and kind of put my family behind. So I ended up calling my dad after my ex had gone to work, and I called my dad really quickly. I said, Dad, this is Shannelle. Write down this number. Call me back on private. A couple minutes later, he ended up calling me back. He's like, Shannelle, are you okay? I said, yes, I'm fine. This is the phone number that you can call me at, and it's really important that you call me at this time, and you have to call private in order for you to call me. And the reason why was I was afraid that because of the agreement that I had with my ex, that I couldn't speak to my family, that this was the only way that I could. I knew that there was something wrong. I knew that I wasn't being treated right. I knew that I needed to get out and reach for my family, and I knew I needed help. So I was speaking to my dad, and he's like, okay, that's what we'll do. And I said, if I don't answer the phone, hang up. But I told him the reason why you have to call private is because if he sees a number on the phone bill coming in, he's going to question me, and I'm going to get in a lot of trouble, and my life will be at risk. Everything that I did wasn't good enough, and to the point where I was too afraid to even say anything, because he would reciprocate and say, you're talking back to me, or how could you think that way? So it was like walking on eggshells the whole time. There was no way that I was going to express to my family that he was beating me up, because I knew for a fact that if I shared that, they would get the police involved all over again. And I knew that that would just cause even more repercussions. I messaged him saying, I've been doing laundry all day. Maxie's been really tired. He's been sleepy. He's been teething. I've been throwing up all day. I don't feel good. I'm going to bed early. Your dinner is in the microwave. It's all ready for you. I'm going to bed. All you have to do is heat it up. That's all he had to do. So he came in, barged into the room, sat down on the bed, threw on the light, and he stuck his foot in my face and said, massage my feet. At that point, I thought, do you want me to go get your dinner first? So he's like, yeah, that's a good idea. Go heat up my dinner. So I go down the kitchen, I heat the dinner up, I bring it up to him. He's sitting on the bed, he's eating his food. He's like, go clean it. So I go, I put the dishes in the kitchen, I clean it up. I come up a few minutes later, he's on the bed, he's like, he needs to massage my feet, I've been on my feet all day. I need to feel better. So I had said, did you not see my message? That I have had a long day as well, and I just need to sleep, I don't feel well. And so he's like, yeah, I read it, but I'm your husband, you need to take care of me first. And so at that point I said, I don't feel like you respect me. That was the first time that I stood up to him and told him how I felt. And immediately his face just went super red and his eyes went really dark and they looked really evil. And he went to go and he grabbed my hand and he took his hand and he punched it, and it really hurt. And I didn't find out till later, but he ended up fracturing my wrist. And so he went up and he went to go and punch my face. So I covered my hands, like my face like this, and he took both of his fists in like this towards my hands that I was covering my face. And there were two things going through my mind. It was, do I yell for help and potentially get really hurt before help comes?
I was very afraid. I was afraid because I finally took these steps knowing that I had been threatened. That if I ever went to the police, that he would either come after me, or he would find out, or he would know. And the repercussions for that were, to my knowledge, I didn't know what they would be, but I knew that he was serious and that I was feared of going to the police. So I knew that by doing this, especially being pregnant and having a son at home, I needed to protect them and I need to protect me, and this was the last thing that I could do.
Can you tell me which one is 1.5? That's right. So what's in the 1.5 cup?
There.
What is in it?
Moisturizer.
I hope not. That wouldn't be very nice. Wait. Okay.
How?
So, yeah, getting lights outside on the house. You still have to do that.
Yeah, well that will take a long time.
We might need a Messiah's help.
By the time Lily was 6 months old, I'm like, I'm going back to school. This is what I'm doing. So I was focused and driven, and I'm doing this because I'm going to be able to preserve a career and be able to financially support my family on my own. That's what my goal was.
We could sing while we're waiting.
Let it go. Let it go. Are you gonna eat cookies? They're mine.
I have a bunch of yours, Mixie.
My favorite thing about my mom is when I bake cookies and treats with her.
So I knew that by traveling back and forth to school, that was the sacrifice that I made in order to continue to grow into where I'm going now, where I am today, and where my future will lead. But it was tiring. And I didn't really allow myself to feel the love that I could feel towards my children. I think that I was still dealing with the emotional side effects of have gone through abuse. Because he was feeding me, if you're not with me, like, you can't be with anybody else. And there were threats of, if you're with anybody else, I'm gonna find out, I'm gonna come after you. So there was that constant fear of, he's always going to be watching my back. He's always going to find a way to come after me. So therefore, I can't find happiness. Because he had taken so much of my life. The way he treated me, there was nothing left. I was numb. I wasn't able to feel love. And I think I wasn't able to feel love because I still was in the process of healing. And some nights when I realized that I don't feel love, I was always attacking myself. Okay, so then I need to be a better student. I need to work harder. Or I need to take my kids here because it's fun. I need to take my kids there. I need to do play dates because it's fun. It's what my kids want to do. It's how you show your kids that you love them and you want them to learn about building relationships. So I was trying to be like the best mom, the best student, and I was doing all these things to try and show my kids that I love them, because I did. I just didn't know how to feel that love. I realized that my story and holding on to the past wasn't going to allow me to reach my full potential.
Quickly, Mommy, quick!
And by holding on to my past, I'm still living in that space of not being worthy.
Get it going again. It's not a one-match fire tonight.
I feel worthy today, and I don't think it's a because answer.
That's okay.
I think the reason behind feeling worthy and being worthy are very much the same thing, and it's getting down to the core of, who are you? Who is Shannelle? Shannelle isn't that story that happened to her. Shannelle isn't the skater that didn't make it to Canadians, it didn't make it internationally. Shannelle even isn't Miss Canada. Shannelle isn't that law student. Shannelle isn't that mom, even though I am a mom. Shannelle is Shannelle because she is uniquely and wonderfully made. I realize that I am so worthy to be loved. I have gone through a lot in my life, but you don't have to go through a lot in order to feel worthy. You are already born worthy to be loved.